Hello and welcome to Military Mantra. In this interview, we have today Colonel Shaminder Singh Jamwal, who has served in the Indian Army for close to 24 years. In this interview, we'll try to understand his journey of joining Indian Army, life in the Indian Army, in the Army Air Defense, and various life lessons that he has learned over his service. So thanks a lot, sir, for coming on this interview and welcome.
Yeah, Akash, first of all, many thanks to you for giving this opportunity to me because, and throughout our career, we get a lot of love and respect from people all around. And once you leave army for whatever reason, for premature or maybe you get superannuated, you look reasons for connect to your people again, how you can give back to the society. So I keep on exploring opportunities through LinkedIn where people approach me for some guidance or some motivation. So, I always look for such opportunities, and I'm really thankful to you for giving me one such platform where I can connect with the aspirants as well as people who would definitely like some kind of, they will get some kind of information or whatever I feel I can give or maybe connect to the people. So thank you again for giving this opportunity to me.
Yeah, thanks a lot, sir. Sir, if you could, start telling us how was your journey before joining the Fauj, and what was your motivation to join the Indian Army back then?
I think this has to be a favorite and the first question itself. So, I am a second generation army officer, and my entire father's side are from army. And from my mother's side, except my Nanaji and my grandfather, and never seen him, my Nanaji's father. My Nanaji's father was in British Army. He was a full colonel. And my Nanaji was from infantry. He was from Jackcliff. He also took premature, but he's a very famous name. He fought in 47-48 war. He's a Veer Chakra of 47-48 war.
Okay.
My Nanaji. And his name is there in a lot of books in 47-48 war ki jitne bhi Indo-Pak ki kitabein hain, Major Jagdish Jamwal Veer Chakra. So, what happened? There used to be mixed thoughts in my house. My mother was never keen for me to join army because she had seen a life of being a infantry's daughter. His father was infantry, so that time things were very different because 47-48 and then independence. So army officers had a tough time. So my mother, being the eldest of the 6 brother sisters, so she was like a father figure. तो वो आधा टाइम तो अकेले ही उन्होंने गुजारा है. Father used to be in field. So my mother always used to say कि तूने आर्मी में नहीं जाना है. And being a father, being a Fauji son, so throughout you've seen that life. And there were certain sparks in my life which probably, I will not say that was the exact reason to come, but yes, it so happened that inclination was definitely because of those reasons. When my father was in army, he also took premature in 94. So as a son of a army officer, you have a different life and a different perspective. You don't understand what your father goes through, but that you understand only once you join. But I remember there are 2-3 incidents, when I think, I don't remember the exact year, but somewhere close to the late 80s, there was, when I was in 10th class, I believe, there was riots there were intercommunal riots in Jammu.
Okay.
And my father was posted there in Jammu itself. So what happened, because my paternal and maternal side both are in Jammu only. So that was a long curfew was imposed in Jammu, almost I think 20-25 days. No people getting bored at houses. So what we did, we had a family reunion. So we all are relatives and we were together. So one day what happened, someone told कि वो picture देखनी है VCR में. So curfew लगा हुआ था. So my Chacha ji had his own shop of VCR and cassettes. So my dad told, don't worry. क्या चाहिए बताओ, कहीं से लेके आएंगे, not to issue. So I remember my father and I also went with him in a gypsy, the Fauji vehicle. We went in mid of the town where total curfew was imposed. Only police people were there. And in the mid of the town, where no vehicle was running, my father got the garage, that shutter of the shop opened. Chacha ji was there साथ में, उन्होंने VCR रखा, cassette रखा और लेके हम घर आ गए. So I said, wow, यार, ये तो army is great. And whenever we used to go for, from one place to another, my father used to always drive down from Delhi, Jammu, Delhi, Pune. So I remember in 84 when the riots took place in Punjab, that time also my father always used to drive with uniform and used to drive in the night.
Okay.
So wherever used to be, there used to be a check post. People used to simply, salute karke jain bol ke bhej jate. So those things got imprinted in my mind, somewhere. Yes, army life has got power also. So nonetheless, that was not the reason. But yes, when I did my schooling from various KVs and I came to college, maths was not very good. So I never wanted to get into the science stream. I took commerce. Then a lot of friends were there, a lot of discussions, क्या करना है. So I had in my mind कि मेरे को थोड़ा engineer में interest था, this hardware portion. I was very keen into exploring electronics. तो मैं घर में काफी चीजों को ऊपर नीचे खोलता रहता था, टीवी हो, सिस्टम हो. So I had thought of getting into that stream also. Then flight steward also had. So there were a number of thought process going in my mind. But my father told कि 12th के बाद यार एक बार रिटर्न दे लो, take experience. So I said ठीक है डैड ले लेते हैं experience. So he said coaching ले लो. तो I thought कि coaching भी ठीक है, चंडीगढ़ जाएंगे थोड़ी मस्ती हो जाएगी. तो फ्रेंड्स के साथ चले गए घूमने, कोचिंग ली, रिटर्न की एनडीए की, बट नहीं पास हुए. तो आई सेड कि अच्छा हुआ नहीं हुए. फिर ग्रेजुएशन करने के बाद डैड ने बोला ओके नो यू मस्ट explore all the opportunities, appear for all the exams. So as luck would have it, I appeared for the CDS also, but first time I didn't clear. So I thought कि अच्छी बात तो है, but then I started worrying also कि अगर नहीं हुआ तो क्या करेंगे, because that time there were not a lot of opportunities for us. MNCs were not there, so being a Fauji son, Fauj and doctor and engineer जो prime सबके favorites होते हैं. So as luck would have it, second time I cleared it. Then I went for the coaching for the interview. And we were two of our friends who were batchmates also now. We are cousin also. But the major issue was, I'll tell you, before actually joining the army, I was a little skeptical because, in my initial school days, I had an issue of, I was very shy. I was very, I used to have only limited friends. और English मेरी बहुत poor थी. Being a Fauji son, but my schooling was 9th onwards in Jammu, and Jammu तो लोग English बोलते नहीं थे उस time पे. And I had totally dealing myself with English, so I had a lot of fear of speaking English. So I thought कि मैं कैसे English में बोलूँगा लोगों के साथ जब interview होगा. So what we did, जो हम दो friends थे, we were together for quite some time now. We were there together since 9th class. So what we did, we started speaking in English with each other. We started jogging, doing physical, running. So हमने कहा अगर अभी इंटरव्यू तो देना है, उससे पहले तैयारी कर लेते हैं. अगर क्लियर हो गया तो we need to get prepared. So we started those things, and then finally went for the interview, and then we cleared it. So that was as far as the my journey of getting into the army was. So though there was mixed thoughts, but somehow destiny plays its role. So I landed up in academy.
Yeah. So if you could, also speak about your experience in the service selection board and what tips you would like to give to the aspirants who wants to appear for SSB.
SSB is actually, I think, one place where definitely one should go as experience itself, because when I went for the SSB,
you can hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. So what happened when I reached?
You got disconnected actually, sir, for a minute.
I think yeah, there was a actually call, WhatsApp call coming from my cousin. So
you can continue.
I had to disconnect that. So what happened when I reached SSB? Mine was Bangalore. So when I reached there, I remember we were a total of 54 candidates who were there. And what happened when you reach there, and especially me as a child, I was always shy and not very outspoken type also. So I thought, when I saw people there with so many people coming from Delhi, those with slangs and English speaking, and someone playing the guitar, someone singing. So it's a different environment. You feel, I thought कि यहाँ तो नंबर लगना मुश्किल है, लोग तो बहुत talented हैं. And English तो ऐसे मारते हैं कि जैसे तो मुश्किल हो जाएगा अपने लिए. So you go with that perception, when you see people, and all are young, maybe 21, 20, 22, maybe 20 years. But actually SSB, one place which exploits you fully. It exploits you from all angles to actually look at your personality. And it's a beautiful system probably which has been adopted over the years, which tests you for what you are. And my only thing, what I can suggest and what I can give an advice to all the aspirants is that whenever people go for SSB, for any SSB, see, it is very easy for people to judge when someone is being interviewed, because what happens in SSB, once you we cross one or two stages and you reach the interview stage. So a lot of people get rejected at the interview stage. I'll tell you the reason for that, because what happens in the interview stage, your interviewing officer makes you very comfortable. And he makes you so comfortable that after some time, once you are conversing with him, after some time, you will become casual. And he will try to extract those things from you. Ki once you become casual, you become very natural.
Correct.
So that is the beauty of this SSB. अगर आपको कहीं पे भी नहीं अभी तक पकड़ा गया तो इंटरव्यू ऑफिसर आपको पकड़ लेगा. So you have to be natural if you're going with the aim to get absorbed in the armed forces. You be natural what you are, and in case you possess those qualities naturally, you will get absorbed. But yes, at the same time, I'll advise that you need to be smart enough to connect the dots when you go to the interview. See, for example, I'll give you a very, very general example. Even in corporate today, if I have to get a job in a company where the JD is being floated, if I see I have those qualities in me and I have done all those jobs, but till the time I don't write in my CV, I'll not get shortlisted at the interview level. So firstly, I need to tailor make my CV as per the requirement of the JD, provided I have done those jobs. Thereafter, once my interview is there, I can tell what I have done. Once the interviewing officer asks me, I can tell I have done those work. But in case you become a little smart and you write those things you have not done, you'll again get caught. So the same way, an aspirant who's going to the SSB, he has to tell and he has to project to the interviewing officer and to all the instructors who are there, who are judging you, that what you are. You have to tell him, कि मैं ऐसा हूँ. So for that, you need to connect your dots each day. The day you start, when you first reach the SSB center and the day you leave. So you have to keep at the back of your mind, because once you become callous in nature, you sometimes cross the line. So for that, you need to be smart enough to get through the interview. And if you are having those very basic quality of, say, honesty, integrity, you are a very balanced person, you will get through. Not to worry for that.
Got it. So because you spoke about qualities, now you're a senior officer who is retired. When you look back at these qualities, how do you evaluate, should people develop and go, or does it eventually get developed?
See, to be very frank, OLQs, if you talk about, I was never aware. And because now what has happened now, this era has so many platforms of, taking, maybe before you go for any kind of exam or interview, there's so many other videos available, coaching. So we also had coaching our time. I did take coaching because that is something very, very basic thing which is required. But my only advice to all the aspirants will be that don't get confused by getting into too many details. See, you as a human being, there are very basic qualities which are required for you to. I believe there are certain basic qualities which a human being needs to be, integrity, honesty are very basic. So that's not necessary for being in army. That's necessary for being in any organization.
Correct.
So आप वो qualities को आप develop नहीं कर सकते हैं अगर आपके naturally हैं तो आप you will definitely get selected because OLQs are certain things आप वो paper में लिख देते हैं, you can define 10 OLQs, 15 OLQs, that doesn't make a difference. But yes, like if we talk about leadership qualities, leadership is something, this situation creates leader. If you recall the history, it is not that leaders are born. Leaders, it is always the situation which creates a leader. So once you get in an environment of army, you are, the day one, once you start commanding women, you will transform yourself each day into a better leader. So there are certain things which you may not require initially, but yes, I will say if you are a balanced guy, you have, what I feel is that if you have a basic understanding of yourself, you are an honest guy, you are a hardworking guy, and you have integrity. There is nothing which can stop you from getting. But yeah, at the same time, you have to be a little smart enough because sometimes SSB में ना तो आपको बहुत smart people चाहिए, ना तो बहुत dull people चाहिए. Dull की category बहुत कम होती है because we all as humans are, our IQ level, generally everybody has good IQ level. So people are generally very smart, and smart people always, you will see in SSB, they will never make it. I mean to say, they who are very smart, they think that they are very smart. So you have to be a balanced guy, but then at the same time, you need to connect those dots for yourself. Sometimes you are not able to tell yourself what you are. So for that, you need to be smart enough to tell the SSB people that yes, this is what I am, and I am the fit guy for you, and you will not regret taking me. So you need to project that for yourself. So that you need to be smart enough.
Got it.
So
So
OLQs, no, you should not take into mind. You should just go with a natural bent of mind and just go and give the interview.
got it. So after that, you went to Indian Military Academy, IMA. So if you could tell us, any memories that you have from your life in the academy, which you still cherish, any memories?
IMA, I think, is one phase of your life which gets permanently imprinted in your mind. I think even in your school, in your college, the bond which you make with your friends, I think the bond which you make in IMA is entirely different. I think the best bonding is you make is in IMA, because IMA teaches you to sweat together. The more you sweat together, I believe the more buddies you become. Because right from day one till the time you pass out from academy and till the time you die, I think even after death, uh, whosoever you have been batchmates or you are not batchmates, you are senior, junior, doesn't make a difference. Army as a whole is one family and is one team. So whosoever passes out from that academy, he becomes a team member of you. So if I take, if I take my IMA days, there are so many memories which you can't even, I think tell in just one incident. But yes, what is the best part of IMA is that in spite of having so many differences among your batchmates, you have, there will be batchmates who don't align with your thoughts. You'll be like, if I'm a disciplined guy, I'm listening to everything my senior says. There's someone who will not listen to senior. He will try to, उसकी वजह सबको punishment मिलेगी, because in army it is very simple. You die together, you live together. So IMA teaches us that once you're in academy, we want that once you pass out, you should align with the one thought of how the army functions. So the whole batch should get aligned with that thought, and for that you need to get railroad together, you need to bleed together, and then you need, आपने क्या करना है एक दूसरे का आप देखिए. But after some time, what happens is after 1 year, 6 months, 1 year, you are all आप एक दूसरे के बिना, जिसको कहते हैं कि you survive नहीं करते हो. You start liking each other company, and then you pass out with the same bent of mind, and that is the beauty of IMA. And the one memory which I can share is that there's a very famous Masuri nights which is known in IMA.
Okay.
So हमें तो नहीं पता था Masuri nights क्या होती हैं, because when we went there, so my father in fact never told me before going कि IMA में कैसा होता है. So he said कि बस जाओ training करो. So he never disclosed what kind of things are there. So once we went there, there are certain people who leave, and very few percentage. But once you get into the rut, you forget your sleep, and 6 महीने आप भूल जाओ, सोना वोना सब भूल जाओ, because your brain is very, very adaptable. Human brain is very adaptable. So we were told कि one day fine day, we were told कि सारे seniors ने बोला कि भाई आज आपने सबने first termers ने इकट्ठे होके fall in होना है. Okay. And Masuri night is generally during winters, and my course started in January, and people who join in June, so उनके लिए Masuri night late winters में आती है after 5 months. So by the time they are prepared for that, but we were not prepared because January was a chilling time. So that they wait for some, any lapses from our side, so they wait for that moment to come. वो जैसे ही होता है तो हमारे को शुरू में उसकी हमारी तो screening हो गई थी. So what is Masuri night is basically you get fallen, and in IMA there are places from where you can see the Masuri hills. Okay. So रात को क्या है, वो Masuri hills दिखता है, पूरा lighted होता है, and in the night, say it's late night when it is very clear, तो 12-1 बजे आपको बुलाएंगे रात को, and रात को उसके बाद they will line you up, and especially when you have something have been goofed up by our first termer. So उसमें as it is you are in your vest and your shorts, and thereafter what is done is basically water is poured on your body. Okay. In chilling winters, and then you have to stare at the lights at the Masuri hills, and you can't move. So till the time you don't fall, you have to keep standing there. So that is known as Masuri night. So that was one experience. And there are a number of experiences, but yes, that is some interesting experience I thought I should share.
Got it, sir. Sir, after IMA, you have joined the Army Air Defense. So if you could speak about, how did you choose to join AAD? Also, as an officer, how does one day look like in terms of role, routine, and responsibility?
So when I was in IMA, everybody was aware what is infantry, because I was also aware. My father, my Nanaji was there, and obviously there were many of my father relatives were infantry. So we were aware of what is in infantry and armored. I was aware. So army defense was something which had a few years back only. That time it has bifurcated from artillery, and people used to say, it is a good career option, and air defense is something new. So when I got into it, I realized, yes, it is a different weaponry system. It has got, it deals with the anti-aircraft system. So it was sounding very interesting to me. So I thought कि infantry armored तो ठीक है, I think common है. But उस time पे that used to be a very hot kind of, core where people used to get into. So I thought, yes, let me get into army defense, because then I'll be dealing something very different, different weaponry system. So let me look forward to it. So God was kind that I filled that thing and I got selected. Basically, got the air defense. And as far as the roles, responsibilities you were saying, see, in army, what happens? The roles and responsibilities for everyone generally remains same. It is all specific to your arms, but the routine is generally everybody in peace. They train themselves for war. So you have generally number of exercises in a year. You have training exercises. You go for firing. So same for for air defense. The routine remains the same. As an officer, you get up in the morning, have a PT. Then you after breakfast you have some classes on weaponry, some physical classes, some on the job training, some maybe you have some classes, verbal classes. So it all those are basically as part of the training part is concerned. Then you have some administrative role where you look after the welfare of your people. And then when you over a period of time, 2-3 months, you do the training, then you go for firing, you go for exercises once or twice in a year. And basically the firing for us is all the AD weapons which we fire. We go to Rajasthan and all those places where we have the designated ranges. So this is generally, everybody specific to his own core, have his own routine, but it is generally the same for everyone.
Got it. Sir, if you could speak about, when you were a young officer, from that, how does, the training of an army defense officer look like? Yeah, like infantry guys go to commando school, the young officer course. So how was your journey?
So yes, this was totally, something very technical for us, because myself being a non-techie, that time air defense used to absorb people who were from just like only 12th you have done taken science, it is fine. But in between the criteria changed to again BSc and all. But we were fortunate, because what happens in air defense is that like everybody other arms, say infantry, you have wives in Mau. For Meccan people, they go to Ahmed Nagar. So everybody has their own alma mater. So for us, we go to Gopalpur, and where we have the Army Defense College. So we, like all other officers who go for 6 months, young officers training. So immediately after commissioning, within that slot, you go to Gopalpur, and you are taught on basics of all the weaponry system which are there in the air defense. And it was absolutely so interesting, because it was something new for me. You get to know about how the weapon system functions. You have to actually like you dissect a human body for doctors, so you have to dissect each and every part and understand how the weaponry system works. And so I think that was a good learning for me. And there are some beautiful equipment which is there with the army. When you feel that the way it functions, so you really are amazed the way human brain thinks and the way he makes weaponry system. So that is what, as far as the training is concerned for the air defense. And then you do firing also there of the same weaponry in Gopalpur, because we have a sea there. So we do firing on the sea of the same weapons. Once we get trained on that after 3-4 months, then we have the live firing. So everybody goes through live firing. We are made to fire, all of us.
Got it. So as a young officer, if you could speak about, how was your first combat experience? And now when you look back, what are the various learnings from that?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question because this is something which every officer wants, because you have worn uniform to get some combat experience. And when my time came, so I remember that time things were pretty bad in Srinagar, and there was every day there was news of some ID blast, some benign, some stand-up attack. It was in 2001.
Mm.
So when my posting came, so everybody had a very sympathetic approach towards me. कि यार don't worry, तू जा रहा है, अपना ख्याल रखना, be careful. So I also thought कि पता नहीं यार कौन सी जंग लड़ने जा रहा हूँ. But then obviously because the state was such in Kashmir that I also thought, I said कि ठीक है सर, जैसे बाकी सब कर रहे हैं हम भी कर लेंगे. But yes, when I reached there, uh, I started thinking about my training time in IMA, because in IMA there are a lot of situations which are painted. Different situations are created where someone is made from enemy side and
Yes.
you are from own side. Then you have ambushes planned. So all those things started coming to my mind. I had got through all the training, so now I think it's time for me to implement those things on ground. And there also, once you join, you have a pre-induction training. You are not straight away told to enter into the combat scenarios, because there is nothing is known. Once
Mm.
you join a battalion, Rashtriya Rifle, you don't know on which day what will happen. So for that, you need to get prepared. You have 1 month pre-induction training in Srinagar, where they have the battle school is there, where various modus operandi of the militants are known. They are taught there, and various other things are taught. So after that experience, once I joined the unit, so what happened? The very first operation when I went, the beauty of army is that the very first day in combat, you have to prove yourself that you're a leader,
Mm.
and for that you don't have time. So once you join, what happens is your men are very smart, because you can, as a single personality, so many people are looking towards you. You may take time to, in a company of 100 people. So probably, at one glance, you may not be able to judge. But then that is the mutual trust you have. So the people are so smart that the way you talk, the way you brief your men, your demeanor, what is your confidence level, what is your understanding of the situation, because the way you deal as an officer with your men, they make a guess कि ये जो साहब हैं हमको अगर लेके जा रहे हैं तो हम जिंदा आएंगे कि नहीं आएंगे. So, and the beauty is that every army officer, I will not say कि it's maybe some percentages there which is not there. I believe every army officer who goes to combat gets that sense of responsibility in him, and he takes everything very seriously. So there, the first experience in my time, there were a lot of incidents, and my first experience was entirely based on mutual trust.
Okay.
For example, I'll tell you the first experience when was of ambush, because I had to, the very first night when I had to go for an ambush, it was a live ambush. It was not something which you used to practice in academy.
Mm.
It was something I have to go in the night. I really don't know. I have only 10 men with me, and 2 over the bodyguard supposed to be ahead of me and the rest behind. Now you're going in the night. You really don't know. My first guy, if you come across any fire or a militant, someone is coming from, he's in the night. It's difficult to even look properly. You're not able to have a clear view, and especially when it is pitch dark.
Mm.
So the beauty is that you are not aware when you join an Rashtriya Rifle Battalion. Those men you have never met in your life.
Correct.
So the very first day when you're going with them, the experience is entirely on your trust and entirely on how good you as a leader, as a team player you are. So my experience was very good. I had many instances where I have faced life and death situations, but I think that's the beauty of Indian Army. The Indian Army, be it a leader, be it your team, you all work together as a team, and I think it is one of the finest uh, army in the world, I believe.
Got it. So if you could also speak about, what was your favorite weapon in the combat?
In the combat.
Yes.
So in the combat, yes, undoubtedly AK-47 is best. But yes, given a chance, because you can't lift that thing. Otherwise, MMG is a beauty of a weapon. So the kind of adrenaline which gets pumped in by firing MMG, that cannot come with AK-47. So otherwise, AK-47 is all-time favorite because it is very, very handy to operate, and it is easy to move with, and I think the rate of fire, everything is very, very it's commendable.
Got it, sir. Sir, since you told me that you knew Captain Pawan Kumar also from the 10 Para Special Forces, if you could speak about the memories that you had with him.
I was very fortunate, I will say, in one sense, that yes, I have spent time with him, and at the same time, it's unfortunate that we lost him. You know what happened when I was posted in Srinagar in Victor Force, where 10 Para SF also was attached with us, and they used to operate on the orders from the headquarters, because Para SF is a very elite force, so they are generally with all the headquarters. And Pawan Kumar had come there with his team, and we used to interact almost every day, except when he used to go for some operations. So I remember, interacting with him number of times, and I used to ask him, since I had operated long time back, so I used to ask him कि पवन यार ये बताओ कि तुम अपनी जाते हो तो कितना मुश्किल होता है when you go for an operation dealing with the civilians, because during our time we did have this human right thing into effect. So like we were kings during our time. We used to tell a village to get vacated, so they used to get vacated, and we used to cordon the village. But time changed, and in headquarters we realized that army are people who are going on ground facing a lot of issues. So I asked Pawan, he said कि sir अभी तो ऐसा है कि सर हम जाते हैं तो पहले तो हमको पत्थर ही पड़ते हैं, and we have to restrain ourselves. So I told कि यार hats off to you Pawan, and he was telling me, I remember one day, just 2 days before this unfortunate incident happened, I was speaking to him, and he had his jaw he had 2 stitches here on the lips.
Okay.
So I asked him कि पवन ये तेरे को कैसे हो गया? तो he said कि सर ये अभी जब हम ऑपरेशन में गए थे तो वहां पे हम जब मिलिटेंट्स को मारा हमने, तो उसके बाद when we were extricating, so people were not letting us out with the militants. They started throwing stones on us. So the point is, I also know that they can't fire. So I said, पवन ये तो बड़ा मुश्किल अभी काम करना. बोला सर अभी तो इतना मुश्किल हो गया कि आप मिलिटेंट्स बीच में रख के भी भगा देते हैं तो हमको पता नहीं चलता, और सामने पता है मिलिटेंट्स हैं, but the whole crowd have covered him. You can't do anything. You can't enter because वहाँ पे पत्थर फेंक करेंगे. So he said कि सर ये जब पत्थर मार रहे थे तो उसी टाइम पे when we were extricating, तो one stone hit on my lips. And the sad part is that even if hits on your head, you can't do anything, because that is what is taught to the officer. Then that Pawan himself, he has got hit on his lips. His whole lips got totally, जिससे कहते हैं कि उसको कितनी लगी होगी मुझे मालूम नहीं, बट मैंने तो उसके स्टिचेस देखे थे 3, तो कहता सर ये तो पूरा फट गया था मेरा लिप्स. एंड ही सेड कि सर ये तो नॉर्मल इशू है आज के डेली का, मतलब ये तो हमारे लिए रोज की प्रॉब्लम है, बट वी कांट हेल्प इट. सो दैट मच रिस्ट्रेंट I will say every army officer does there when he's going for an operation, and you can well imagine how good a human being Pawan was, when he used to go for so many operations. And if I tell about this incident, so I know how this incident happened, and they had gone inside from the fire exit. There is a fire ladder slide in the EDI building, and they were launched in the night. So because we were monitoring that, and when I met him, so he said he was leaving for the operation. I think the day of the operation, I met him in the office only in the night, because we were all in the offices and they were leaving for that. So I asked him also. He said, "Sir, ja rahe hain." So I said, "All the best," because that was part of it's a routine. But we never appreciated that it will so happen, because when they went from the fire that side, the fire exit side, the militants were sitting on the top of the building, on the top of the floor. They heard some noise and they opened randomly. So when they opened random fire, so unfortunately one bullet hit Pawan, and he died on the spot. But my interaction was with him, though I'll not say was for a very long time, because their para SF people used to be on rotation. So I had I think almost 10 months of time with him, and he was such a gentleman and so humble. He was very so soft spoken, and we always look para SF people from a different angle. हमें वो लगते हैं कि हमसे अलग काम करते हैं, but para SF people never feel that way. वो तो हमको ऐसे लगता है कि जैसे कुछ वो दिखाते ऐसे कुछ काम नहीं कर रहे, बट द वे दे ऑपरेट एंड द वे पवन यूज्ड टू हैंडल ऑल दोस थिंग्स, वो बहुत कहानी बताता था. इट इज टाइम इज टू लेस टू एक्सप्लेन हियर, बट यस आई ओनली गेव द लिस्ट ऑफ दैट. So God, give him strength and maybe bless his family. And I'm sure he must have been born somewhere else with will pursue his dreams in the next birth. But God bless him, and he was a great man, a great soldier, and a good human being. So I have very fond memories of him.
Sir, you were also telling me that you actually trained 300 surrender terrorists into a loyal force. So if you could describe that experience of yours.
Akash, if I can just take a minute to just go back, I just forgot to tell one thing. Why, I have a special affiliation with para people, because I'll take this opportunity now, this platform.
Yeah.
My real Jijaji was also from para SF, and I lost him in Op Prakram in an encounter, same way like Pavan was lost.
Okay.
So I have a very emotional connect with the para SF people. So wherever that is why I used to interact with Pavan a lot, because I have a special place for SF people in my heart. So that I forgot to say, because my own Jijaji, we lost him, and we lost him in 2002 only, when I was myself in Ara. And that time I had gone to my sister's place, but yes, and my own Chachaji is also from para SF. So yes, I have this incident very close to me, so I can relate Pavan's incident, and that is why I used to interact with Pavan a lot. This was one reason which why I used to speak to him so many times in the mess. So yes, now coming to your second question, this regarding this militants. So I'll just like to give a small background to this. What had happened was in Valley. अभी तो बहुत कम हो गए, but during our time, a lot of ex-militants who had surrendered, they were operating with many companies there, all the Rashtra Rifle companies. So they were a kind of source, they used to provide the intelligence to everyone, and used to move others on ambushes and normal patrolling, where we used to, in case we need to speak to the locals, they used to be kind of media for us. So they were doing a fantastic job when many of the militants known as Ikwan was one of the cadre, which was, I think, 92 or 93, it got surrendered. And that was after the persuasion of, I'll not name the chief, he was one of the chief who was that time the corps commander. He persuaded him, the complete Ikwan Tanzim which was there, to surrender. So they surrendered, and thereafter they did a fantastic job. So what happened, the corps commander, when he became chief during my time when I was in the Rashtra Rifles, so there was a feeling in the atmosphere that these militants, ex-militants, have, they are spoiling the environment, because they are getting into extortion and all those kind of things, which they were not doing earlier.
Okay.
So we got a direction from our chief. That time he said कि मैंने जब इनको surrender कराया था तो बहुत अच्छे लोग थे. I think they need training again, because probably they have been again misguided, and they are a potential force. If they can still be used in the manner they were being used earlier, they'll be of great help to the Indian Army. So a direction had come from the top that all these Ikwans needs to be get together at one place. And since our Rashtra Rifle was the one who had the maximum Ikwans, and their leader was in the same area where my company was there, Hajan company. It is very famous. It's अभी भी बहुत बार न्यूज में आती है. Even one famous incident of Chetan Cheetah, if you remember, a CRPF guy जिसके eyes में लगी, that also happened in Hajan only. So that was a company which I was looking after. So Kokapare was the one who was the leader of all the ones, and he unfortunately he also died once I left. I think उसके 2-3 साल के बाद किसी ने उसको गोली मार दी थी. But since he was the leader, so I was given the task from the CEO. He said, you have been dealing with all the ones. So he called me to the headquarters for 6 months. He said, now I want you to come to the headquarters, and you train these 6 months, and thereafter this will be judged by the corps commander will come and see how they have changed. So what now I want to share with you all is that I believe every human is same. You be it you take a civilian, be a Fauji or a civilian guard who's standing in an ATM. It is how you deal with the people. So army is only why we call Indian Army, because in army the environment is different, the dealing is different. It's entirely, it's empathy, it is leadership, it is courage. There's so many things. So how you deal with the person, firstly you have to be very humane in your approach. So when I was dealing with the 300 militants, I realized that it is not very difficult to train them, because once see, resistance is always there. Any change, it is always resisted. So when initially I got together, all these 300 militants, they had a lot of cries, ki nahi, sam ghar jana hai, Sunday ko jana hai. And see, 6 months, you're not going to go anywhere. 6 months, you'll be trained here. On very, very specific emergency reason, I will leave you. Otherwise, because they go out, they don't come back. There are some people there. It happened. So I said, ki nothing doing. You all are going to be here. But what happened, even in army also, everything can't go by danda. You have to be very, very, the approach has to be very, very holistic. It has to be overall growth. There has to be meaning in the training. If I just tell them कि आज आ जाओ और आप बस train हो जाओ तो क्या मिलेगा? So they will not get trained. But the way you communicate, because communication is very important in any relation, be it your own personal relation, be it a professional relation. There are things which get totally out of hand. There are things out of hand. Things can get back to terms in case you have the right communication and you convey the people exactly what has happened and what is required. So I did the same thing. I told them, give me a month. Thereafter, if you feel that you feel that is something we are just doing, nonsense, you tell me. We'll take a call. But within 1 month, I'm telling you, believe me, within 1 month they started enjoying that, because the training I had put all the obstacles, the firing. So they also used to have the weapons with them, because they always used to carry. We had given weapons to each of them. So they started enjoying, because that was something they had never expected. कि हमको ऐसा फौजी टाइप ट्रेनिंग मिलेगा, हमको खाने को मिलेगा, कुक हाउस होगा, सब कुछ होगा. And they were heard when there was some emergency, some marriage or something. I used to tell them, ठीक है जाओ. So thereafter, after 6 months, when our corps commander came and saw their training and they saw their, how they were doing the obstacle course, how they were firing, the corps commander was amazed. I was given an appreciation for that, a letter of appreciation, especially I got for this, because nobody could imagine that this 300 militants, surrendered militants have done such a fantastic job. The way they used to speak had changed, because training is that is why why there is a difference. The difference is only of training. If I compare myself with a civilian, the difference is only training. I take 1.5 year training, I become a different man. So same, it is all the training, how you impart, what is the structure of the training, how well it is understood by the people. So that matters. And I got assistance from all my seniors, my juniors. So it was a great success. And thereafter, we then got them deployed back to the companies, and they did a fantastic job.
Got it.
So it was a great experience for me, a great learning for me, how to handle people from different, thought processes.
So you were also, a public relations specialist. So if you could describe what that role looked like, also various challenges that you faced during that time.
So I was very fortunate. This was again when I was in the Victor Force, when I was recalling the my interaction with Pawan and the stay at Victor Force. So I was basically posted as the public relation officer for the Victor Force, and army. You will appreciate that in army there are a lot of restrictions as far as the media connect is concerned. Ourselves officers getting onto the social platform or anything media bite, we have to say there are a lot of clearances required. So though it was a very challenging job for me, but it was very, very exciting and interesting, because I used to deal with media persons. And it so happened that in my entire 2 years plus, all the big events, the Buranwani operation, the Lieutenant Omar Fiaz, then Gugoi incident, then the 3-4 months which after the Buranwani, this whole Kashmir was banned for 4 months. So there was such a these information, because media people wants, and the point is that if I say anything, media will get it endorsed in the article. So for me it was very important, because for every time I can't tell my media guy, wait, let me speak to my boss, because if I've been given that appointment, I need to, with my own wisdom, understand what I need to tell them. So anything used to happen, I used to get call from media people कि सब वहाँ पे ये हो गया है, या यहाँ पे फायरिंग हो गई है, यहाँ पे कोई सिविलियन किलिंग हो गई है. So you have to be very, very, mature in handling with the people from media, because you say something, they'll get published. They'll say, "Ki, "Sahab, aapne to phone pe bola tha." So it was challenging that way. And sometimes you will, in the newspaper, you will suddenly read a news of your own, one of your units, कि इसने कुछ काम कर दिया है, ऐसा कुछ कर दिया है. So what happened that as a PRO of the Victor Force, my main job was, challenging job was to get my complete all the units of the formation on one platform to intimate me any incident which is happening, even in the night, so that before a media person gives me or reports me कि साहब कुछ हुआ, I am already prepared with my answer. So that was the need of the hour. So that was the only difference, because it was entirely a different job as compared to the army which you deal now. Because यहाँ पे आपको phone किया और आपको कुछ बताया, and if you're not aware, so then it becomes very embarrassing. So I had, what I had to do was I had to develop some kind of mechanism where I was pre-informed of incidents, so that I was well prepared with my answer with the reporters. And the second thing which you have to do there is you have to prepare the media bites of your GOC. You have to give rebuttals to the articles which are published against us, tarnishing our image. So it was entirely a different exposure. It was, it improves your vocabulary, your English. वहां पे जाके अच्छी हो गई थी, because every day you have to write something or the else in the press. So it was a beautiful exposure for me, something very different, and I really enjoyed it. And for this interview, I did a course also from Indian Institute of Mass Communication. I did 1 month's course also on PRO. So they also told us how to go about things. So it was a good exposure, entirely something very, very different from what we do in a normal job in army. So I was fortunate.
Sir, if you could also speak about, how do you look at leadership and how the Indian Army has helped you, groom your leadership skills?
See, like I told earlier also, there's I can say generic, I can say yes, situations do make leaders. But in army, I told you, like from the day one, you have to start exhibiting your leadership qualities. But let me tell you one thing: a good leader is the one who is a good teammate. You can't be a good leader if you're not a good team player. So firstly, you have to understand, a good leader means focusing your entire team thought process on based on what you are perceiving and what they are perceiving. You have to align both the thoughts. You have to make them realize that what they are doing is what is is actually is required, what is to be done. So they are doing the same thing what is required to be done. So firstly, your motive and the team motive should be one. They should align with what you are thinking, and you should also align with what they are thinking. If there are some issues you need to resolve, and then come together and fight that particular whatever. It can be anything. See, in normal exercise, you go in normal administration, in a combat zone, wherever you go, you have to take your team together, because in normal exercise also you need to brief your men, and briefing is very important in any leadership quality. If you as a leader, if you can't brief people what is required out of them, and if you don't know the pulse of the people, then you're not a good leader. So I feel in army, you are trained in such a way that once you join a regiment, you are put to such conditions that your officers will start judging you, how good your leader are. Your men will start judging you, how good you as a leader you are, and you will start judging yourself also, how good you as a leader are. So with every, these multiple agencies involved in assessing you, at every step you will take corrective action and emerge as a better leader. So that's the beauty of army, that army will keep on honing your skills to become a better leader. But yes, you have to be a good team player first, then only you can become a good leader. That's my only what my experience is and my advice to everyone.
Got it. Since this is my last question, since a lot of aspirants are watching us, so what will be your message to all of them who wants to join the forces?
See, firstly, I'll say that whosoever is thinking to join armed forces, I think it is one of the best decisions. Firstly, now the second challenge is how to get about it. So my only advice is first, the first battlefield is in your brain. So the first battlefield you have to fight is in your brain. So you fight that battle. You just clear all your doubts. You believe in yourself. The first fight is that believe in yourself. So that battleground is believe in yourself. Have self-confidence. don't think much about, what is in army. There, there are a lot of perception people have. Even I'm surprised sometimes. A lot of students ask me कि army में ये होता है, वो होता है, या आप क्या करते हैं. So they have. So I feel the same way. A lot of aspirants who have no clue about army, they have a different perception. So don't have any perception. Firstly, just naturally go with what you are. You have to do a preparation, that is no doubt. You have to go through a written, you have to have some coaching classes, you have to have a general awareness, you need to have some kind of IQ level, which I'm sure aspirants must be having. तो आपको थोड़ा पढ़ना पड़ेगा, आपको जनरल अवेयरनेस रखने पड़ेगी, वो बेसिक जो आपको चीजें चाहिए वो चाहिए. But besides that, if you have to crack the interview, don't think much, have self-confidence in yourself, believe in yourself, be natural. I'm sure you'll get through. Don't think much about it. Okay? So my only advice is don't take too many of what happens is, हम भी जब वो कुछ किसी के बारे में सजेशन लेना होता है तो हम इतना उसकी information लेते हैं कि we get confused. So only get your thoughts for what you require and then just focus on that and just believe in yourself. You'll get through.
Got it, sir. So thanks a lot, sir, for your time on this session, sharing your experiences and the various life lessons that you have learned in the Indian Army. So thanks a lot, sir, for your time. Jai Hind, sir.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much once again for giving all the time. I'm sure I hope I have been able to contribute at least to some extent where people get some kind of benefit.
Thank you.
Thank you once again for giving this opportunity. Thank you, Kash.